Reese Witherspoon did a much better job than I ever could, and she has now way more money than I do.
I had said yes to Django.
Characters become iconic thanks to the actors who bring them to life, and it's difficult to imagine anyone else in the role afterward. Some actors regret turning down a project, but others know that it all happens for a reason, no matter how popular or critically adored the film might become. Jessica Simpson. Acting may not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Jessica Simpson, but she's definitely made her impact on the silver screen more than once. Her iconic roles in films like The Dukes of Hazzard and Employee of the Month in the early 2000s proved that she's both a great singer and a comedic actress. But there was one chance to show her more dramatic acting chops that Jessica actually passed up, and the film ended up being a huge hit. Jessica published her memoir, Open Book, in February of 2020, and she revealed a lot of secrets about her life. One of which is that she turned down the film The Notebook. Turns out Jessica Simpson was actually offered the role of Allie, which eventually went to Rachel McAdams. But she turned it down because of the movie's now famous love scene. She wrote in her book, "I knew exactly what the movie was about because I had read the script, but the people behind the movie wouldn't budge about removing that scene." The film is of course now known for Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling's incredible on-screen chemistry and would probably look unrecognizable with Jessica Simpson in the leading role. Alicia Keys. Another singer-turned-actress who turned down the role of a lifetime is Alicia Keys, and we're wondering if she's kicking herself now for not taking it. The film A Star is Born has been adapted and remade several times, but we now know it as the film that made us fall in love with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. But one attempt to remake the film in 2002 actually had Alicia Keys slated to be the leading lady of the iconic story. At the time, however, Alicia decided to turn down the film because her manager said her first major film role should be more challenging. The 2018 release ended up being a major box office hit, and it was nominated for 8 Oscars, and we're wondering if the film would have had the same success with Alicia playing Allie instead of Lady Gaga? Either way, Alicia maybe got her chance to relive what could have been when she and James Corden sang a parody of the film's hit song Shallow on The Late Late Show, where James helped teach Alicia Keys about how to be a great Grammys host. Joaquin Phoenix. He is now in the Hall of Fame of men who totally owned playing the complex role of the Joker, but at one point, Joaquin Phoenix turned down another Hall of Fame role. To be included in the Marvel Cinematic Universe has become a badge of honor for many actors. We will never look at the Avengers and not think of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. But could you ever imagine anyone other than Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange? Well, at one point the role was going straight to Joaquin Phoenix. Back in the lead up to the production of Doctor Strange, it really seemed like we were going to get Joaquin Phoenix in the title role. At one point, he was described as being in final negotiations, but he pulled out near the end of his talks with Marvel. He later said he was uncomfortable with the lengthy press commitments required when it comes to Marvel films. The role went to Benedict Cumberbatch, and he signed on for the MCU films, including Avengers Endgame, which shattered every opening week record in box office history. You think Joaquin is rethinking those press commitments?
I'm not opposed to those kind of films. I just haven't found one that's really appealing to me yet.
Gwyneth Paltrow. The 1997 blockbuster film Titanic made Kate Winslet a superstar, but someone else came close to being cast as Rose, the posh passenger who fell for Leonardo DiCaprio's character aboard the doomed voyage. Gwyneth Paltrow. This rejection seems like a huge mistake, considering how historic the film ended up being. It's one of the highest grossing films of all time. Regardless, Gwyneth Paltrow claims that she isn't bitter. In an interview with Howard Stern, she shared, "I look back at the choices I've made and think, why the hell did I say yes to that and no to that? And you know, you look at the big picture and think, there's a universal lesson here. What good is it to hold on to roles?" We will probably never think of the character Rose without Kate Winslet's face, but it makes us curious. What would Titanic have been like with Gwyneth Paltrow? Rachel McAdams. Anne Hathaway absolutely nailed the role of schlumpy reporter turned fashionista in the stylish hit film The Devil Wears Prada. But that role would have gone to Rachel McAdams instead if the studio had its way. Fox offered her the role multiple times, saying they wanted an established movie star, and in 2006, Rachel McAdams was fresh off hits like The Notebook and Mean Girls, and she was a favorite for the part. But she repeatedly refused because she was stepping away from mainstream films at the time. This film ended up launching Anne Hathaway's career into more adult roles that we all know her for. Now, we're just trying to figure out what Rachel McAdams regrets more, turning down the role or turning down a movie with the legend that is Meryl Streep. Will Smith. It's hard to look at Quentin Tarantino's film Django Unchained and picture anyone but Jamie Foxx as the film's namesake, but at one point, Tarantino actually offered the role to Will Smith, and after reading the script, Will said no. The story is that Will turned down the project because he felt that the character Django wasn't actually the lead, claiming that the role seemed smaller than some of the other characters in the film. Django Unchained turned out to be one of Tarantino's biggest box office hits, grossing a hugely impressive $413 million worldwide. It was a critic's favorite and it was nominated for 5 Oscars. Did Will miss out on finally winning an Oscar, or did Jamie Foxx make the film what it is? We'll never know. Will Smith added that he nevertheless much enjoyed the final version of the film, saying, "I thought it was brilliant, just not for me." Christina Applegate. Ariana Grande helped revive our love for the movie Legally Blonde with her music video tribute, Thank You Next, and we all remembered how legendary Reese Witherspoon is. But we almost didn't get to see Reese play one of her most memorable roles ever. Apparently, the script for the hit film about sorority girl turned lawyer Elle Woods initially went to Christina Applegate. She ended up saying no to the film because she was leery about taking on another dumb blonde role. Christina told ET Online, "I got scared of kind of repeating myself," but added that she kind of regrets it, saying, "What a stupid move that was, right?" Still, Christina is happy with the way things turned out, saying,
No, I don't regret it because Reese Witherspoon did a much better job than I ever could.
Emilia Clarke. After filming several scenes without clothes early on while playing Daenerys Targaryen on Game of Thrones, Emilia Clarke said she got sick and tired of being constantly asked about it, which prompted her to turn down the lead role in one of 2015's biggest hits, 50 Shades of Grey. The actress revealed she was offered the role of Anastasia Steele in the steamy thriller, but turned it down due to the excessive love scenes. 50 Shades ended up setting new records in 2015 for the highest-grossing President's Day holiday opener of all time, and ranking among the biggest R-rated debuts in history, not to mention that it was followed by 2 more successful sequels. While Dakota Johnson ended up in the role, Emilia Clarke stands her ground, claiming that passing on a huge franchise like these films is worth it if it saves her from being pigeonholed as an actress. Charlie Hunnam. Emilia Clarke isn't the only star to turn down the giant hit that is 50 Shades of Grey. Sons of Anarchy star Charlie Hunnam said no too. Charlie was hand-picked for the leading role of Christian Grey and was actually really excited about doing the film. However, Charlie famously pulled out of the much-hyped adaptation, with the part eventually going to Jamie Dornan. Scheduling conflicts between the movie, his show Sons of Anarchy, and the Guillermo del Toro film Crimson Peak became too much to handle, and he called director Sam Taylor Johnson with the bad news. He told Variety, "We both cried our eyes out on the phone for 20 minutes, and added, there was a lot of personal stuff going on in my life that left me on real emotional shaky ground and mentally weak, and I was sort of having panic attacks about the whole thing." Although Jamie Dornan became the face of the role, Charlie Hunnam may have missed the opportunity of a lifetime. Tiffany Haddish. Comedian Tiffany Haddish has no problem being herself on stage and isn't afraid of getting real on television and in films. But apparently, there is a line that even Tiffany won't cross. She revealed in April 2018 during an appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers that Jordan Peele initially approached her to audition for his film Get Out. Even though she worked with Jordan Peele on the film Keanu and the show The Last OG, Get Out wasn't compelling enough for Tiffany, and she turned him down. She recollected the moment saying,
"I don't do that, that's demonized kind of stuff. I don't let that in my house."
Although we don't think there are any ghosts following Tiffany around her house because she turned down a scary movie, we do think regret may be following her around. Why? Because Get Out would gross $255 million at the box office and take home the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Lindsay Lohan. The Hangover is one of the most successful comedies of all time, taking in more than $450 million at box offices worldwide in 2008 and spawning 2 successful sequels. And originally, Lindsay Lohan was considered for a role in the film during a time when she was searching for her comeback. She had had such big hits with films like Mean Girls, but was trying to find her way back into the spotlight after a few slower years. But when Lindsay was offered the role of Jade, the exotic dancer who Ed Helms wakes up married to, she turned it down. Lindsay reportedly said that the script had no potential and passed on the part. It ultimately went to Heather Graham, who reprised her role as Jade in The Hangover 3. Little did Lindsay know this film would take over the world. Whoops. Were there any roles on this list that you wish you could see someone else play? Or do you think that everything in Hollywood happens for a reason? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and thanks for stopping by The Taco. Bye for now.